Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Delta Racing Competition Grand Prix. This week we are in Singapore, one of the hardest circuits on the calendar, and joining me in the commentary booth is the good man himself for the first time ever. I feel honoured to be taking your first time away from you here. It's Horn Badger. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. How's things?
Oh, very good indeed. But we can't stall on this. We've got to go straight into the driver's standings. Beaker currently topping it. Would we ever think we'd see the day where Beaker would be topping a driver's standings? Well, he's doing it. 111 points. Dennis in second with 98, tied with Yonti. Then you got Dan in 88 points. Then Bottas Gang in fifth with 87 points. Best of the rest is currently Just Ice though with 28 points. It's quite stacked, to be honest, this entire Drivers' Championship. It's really quite close together. So yes, Beaker may be at the top right now, but that doesn't mean it's going to stay like that for the rest of the season. He still has very much a lot to lose here. Has got a quite comfortable lead, yeah, that's true. But I think there's plenty of people in here that could very easily take it away from it. And this circuit here today is a very tough one indeed. You know, you're not just racing for yourself, you're racing for your team. Constructors, Mercedes, top of it, 160 points with Toro Rosso in second with 118, tied with Alfa Romeo for third. Ferrari in fourth with 108, then you got Haas in fifth with 104. Now, the Constructors is even quite similar, but it doesn't quite tell the same tale as it does in the Drivers. You know, you've got Beaker up there in P1, but the team are actually in P2. Here's the track they're going to be duking out today with 3.1 miles in total, 23 turns overall with 2 DRS zones on this circuit. It's going to be a very tough race. Could actually be the longest one overall, and here's why. This is a hot lap of this beautiful circuit. Home DRS straight. Right the way down, brake when you see the safety car board on the right hand side and get yourself down to gear 4. Turning for 1, 2 and 3. It's a slow rotation for 3, but you want to get a pretty solid exit because you need to line yourself up very nicely for the next and final DRS straight of this circuit. This is going to be where most of the overtaking will happen. Get the exit of dreams, you're going to need it because you've got the tow, you've got the DRS, you've got the ERS in mode 4, and you brake just as you get to the 100 meter board, get yourself right down the gears again, cut that curb quite nicely, don't run wide, you will invalidate, brake when you see the wall on left side, bend a little bit, and cut the curb just quite tight. Don't run wide, you'll hit the wall, it will end your race. Cut left again, make sure you don't hit the wall on the outside once more, because again, that will end your race, as with all street circuits. Brake about the 75 meters, get yourself down to gear 4, gear 3 if you need some extra rotation, and then an awkward little chicane here till you get onto the bridge. This is another hard area. You want to brake out into the hairpin. Do not lock up, as a little bit did there in the hot lap. And then get the exit again. This is another little sprint, little drag race, if you like, towards another hard braking zone, another hard right-hander. Can be going wheel to wheel here in the race. Maybe keep an eye for that. Again, don't run wide. You'll very easily hit the wall, get damage on the circuit, and you are done for. Brake out into yet another chicane here. Cut both the corners quite nicely, but again, don't run wide. Brake when you see the 75 meter board, maybe a bit less than that. Cut the curb on the left-hand side, and then again, cut it on the right too. Again, don't run wide. That wall sticks out more than you think. Another chicane, the final chicane, as you come up to the double left-hander, and you need to cut the first corner quite nicely, but not too hard, you will invalidate, and then you just run hard onto the home straight. Right, we've seen the lap, we've seen how you can do it in the game. You know, it's very easy to do if you know what you're doing. It's very hard to do in practicality when it comes to races. This track destroys tires, but for the first time, Hon Badger, I need to hear your top 3 prediction for qualifying.
Well, before I answer that, quick question.
Yep.
Were there any penalties issued out for Dan and Lucas from their rather interesting tactics last race?
Good question. I actually don't know the answer to that. I don't think so. I think they played the loophole card of, well, we weren't aware of this beforehand. This is not stipulated in the rules anywhere, so we'll see. However, I honestly don't know. Hopefully, one of the stewards in the chat could tell us. That'd be grand. Yeah, I don't know.
Right, okay. To be honest, I think this is going to be Bottas Gang's to lose. I think he's going to have the pace here. As for 2 and 3, most likely going to be Beaker and Yonti, although I don't know the order. I'll say Beaker P2 and Yonti P3. I think I'll go with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we had a little update. It looks like it potentially could be light rain at the start of this race. So all these runners you see out on hard right now are probably going to switch tyre. you can see that the vast majority of the field are actually out on hard tyres just now, sitting in kind of banker laps. But yeah, they're most likely going to be switching to the softs if it is definitely guaranteed to start rain. If not, they're probably going to bank on medium tyres.
Yeah, exactly. You know, this circuit absolutely melts tyres when it comes to tyre wear. You know, the temperatures get very hot anyway. The tyres themselves will just drop off, which is why the softs are not the best tyre to go on, unless, like you say, we're going to have a wet start. If we are having a wet start, brilliant. You know, chuck on the softs, qualify as high as you can, and you're going to start on intermediates or wets, whatever the conditions tell you to go on to. Which is, you know, it's great as a driver. You get to chuck on some softs and chuck in a really hot lap time. I love driving this circuit on the soft tires, but you know, you can't do more than say 3-4 laps on them because they just fall apart so easily. Tire temperatures are the main cause for loss of control, and on a track like this, if you lose even a slight whiff of control, you very much end up in the wall and can easily end your entire Grand Prix. Dennis is currently out on a hot lap, but so far Bottas Gang leads with a 1:35.365, a good solid 4/10 clear of Lucas.
Yep, Lucas has put in a pretty good time as well, but they are around 8/10 faster than the rest of the field. But absolute stellar lap in from Bottas Gang.
Yeah, Dennis joins right up there with him. He's actually only just under a 10th behind him. So well done, Dennis. 1:35.435 to start us off with. I never actually gave you my top 3 prediction. I actually think Bottas Gang is the quicker driver of all of them here today on this circuit. I've seen him drive the circuit. I've actually driven on the circuit with him. He is crazy fast. So, you know, give him a lot of credit. This guy knows what he's doing on this circuit. It's again, though, whether or not he's going to be able to actually deliver when it comes to the race itself. He's on the mediums as his best time. He's currently flashing the softs to suggest he's going to do that. Big mistake if we don't start off with a wet race.
Yes, absolutely. It depends how much they trust the weather prediction. But I can't see any reason why you would set a lap time on the softs if the weather is not going to be rain. So fingers crossed the prediction's correct and everyone can try and set their absolute best time on the soft tyre. But as you say, you can't really get many laps out of this, so if you mess up your first flying lap, you're not going to get another run in on those tyres, so you're going to need to pit.
Oh. Yeah, I'm sorry, I just saw Just Ice getting a little bit wily on the exit. Lost the rear, did slam it into the wall, but he's still going, he's not actually damaged. Oh, he almost understeered into that wall there. This is an example of just how hard this circuit can be. If even one slight mistake is made, it knocks your confidence, and this is a track that doesn't allow you to have a lack of confidence. If you have any hesitation, any slight mistake, it will end you. It will not hesitate to do that. And Just Ice on the softs, we already talked about how that's a mistake. We'll find out whether or not this works out for him later.
Yep, as I say, without the rain, anyone on softs is going to have to pit very, very quickly. Probably going to force them into multiple stops. I don't see how you could stop it from starting on the softs. But again, the times in qualifying should definitely help for moving you up the grid. We just have to see what Bottas has got the tyres on, sitting in the pits, waiting until the moment to come out. But it looks like he's coming out the pits now, so we might be able to see him put in an absolute stellar lap time.
Now, there are a few in the top 5 that have actually gone for the soft tyres as well, and actually on outlaps. Now, this does indicate, like what you said, that we are going to see some rain at the start of the race. I don't think we're going to be seeing them chuck on the wet setup, though. I think they've gone for a dry setup. They're just going to nurse the car early, which is the risky area to do it. If your car is unstable and in the wet conditions and you make mistakes, that can seriously hinder you. You know, the other thing to think about is that this track is, like I said, in terms of time, the longest track on the calendar. You can't afford to have any safety cars come out, otherwise it's going to be delayed even more. And yes, these drivers, you know, that are racing in this game, they don't have the same sort of fatigue as you get when it comes to the official F1 drivers, but relatively speaking, you know, it still tires you out really quite a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing to consider as well is you have to absolutely be on the correct tyre at the correct time. You know, if you decide to go one extra lap on a set of tyres that's not for the conditions, you are putting yourself at a massive disadvantage because of the time lost around this track is enormous.
It really is. Okay, so the top three all out on outlaps with their soft tyres on. We also have Dane, Dan also joining them with the soft tyres, but Yonti out as well on hards. Now, interestingly, he's actually only a second behind Dan when it came to their hot laps. It was Yonti on hards and Dan on mediums, which is kind of a bit concerning, if you like, for Yonti. I've actually seen him race the circuit too. He is really quite quick, but I don't know. Oh, that was close. That was very close between Lucas and Nixana. I thought they were going to go straight into each other. Nixana does back out of the way just in time. Lucas getting a little bit of a heart attack. Is Lucas's lap going to be quick enough?
Yep, he's certainly going for it. He's leaving nothing on the table.
Okay,
that's
so
you gain so much time from, you know, if you can nail these apexes and you know, if the wet conditions come out, you can get these corners absolutely right. People are going to have so much difficulty getting through them side by side with each other, and especially at the start while everyone's bunched up. If you can get here and get cleanly through and get yourself some clear air, you're going to be having a good time. But oh, there's Lucas nearly into the wall. I think he has actually lost a bit of wing. Yep, so that's that lap binned. He'll need to come back into the pits.
he was actually just in the way of Lando's Milkman as well, who, yes, is on hard tyres, but I'm pretty sure that was, yeah, he's definitely got wing damage. I'm pretty sure Lando's was on a hot lap as well, so they maybe a double whammy for Lucas. If he gets the wing damage, it might also be getting in trouble from the stewards if that was an obstruction of a hot lap. We'll worry about that later because Dan has chucked in the fastest lap time. He's done a 135, sorry, 265. Fluffy Ball's there as well with a 135.297. Now I believe, yeah, Bottas Gang's lap time, bear in mind, was on mediums. He's done a 135.365 on mediums. He's out there right now on softs, about to cross the line, and he goes pull, and that is not a surprise. That is huge.
It. That is an enormous gap. He has laid down the gauntlet and just telling everyone behind him to come chase him.
That's exactly what they're doing, isn't it, really? Let's be honest, they are really trying, but he is just so high up now. This is incredible. I want to see whether or not he can do anything further going into this. We still have 5 minutes remaining of this Grand Prix, which does obviously spell that there's plenty of time for him to go again. And I think if he can break it down to like a low 34, that would be brilliant. I'd love to see that.
Interestingly, there's still several drivers out there on the hards. Bika, for example, has only just came into the pits to put on the mediums. Yonti's still out on the hards. Lando's Milkman out on the hards, and so is Busted. With Yappe still in the pits, but also got the hard tyre on.
So, it is the time of the day. It is the calm before the storm, as majority of the drivers are in the pits, prepping themselves for the to choose the right tyres going into this. As like I said, with rain starting off in the beginning of the race, likelihood is they're going to be going out on softs, trying to qualify as high up as they can, as Just Ice has done exactly that, 135, 102, so raising the bar for the rest of the grid. But Bottas Gang is just so much faster. Yeah, definitely Bottas Gang P1 is what I was going for, and I think, yeah, you're right with the Haas boys being 2 and 3, but I think Yonti's going to be the one who will take it overall.
Yeah, I think I think, to be honest, if we can get... it's interestingly seeing people still got the mediums on in the pits, and maybe they think that the softs can't do the full lap at kind of optimal performance. But we'll see if anyone actually does come out on the mediums and try and set a lap time in.
Rightio. 3 minutes 33 to go. Wicked Pony out on the medium tyres. I'm not sure if he's seen the weather report or if he's just trying to do something a bit different. But medium tyres are on the car for the Mercedes driver. A lot of other people still in the pits. Just Ice obviously done a lap. He might be able to make it. No, should be able to make it in and out. That'd be very, very close to the wire. But, you know, these guys time this to perfection. Let's see how they do.
Yep, you'll need to come kind of out straight as he gets in, but it should get him enough time to cross the line. He'll be the very last person to cross it, so we better hope that no issues come out in front of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's got a clear track. in terms of ahead of him, unless any of the drivers just suddenly stop on the circuit and just park it. He's got a lot of clean air. Should be able to cross the line, no problems at all. Looking who is ahead of him. We've got a Alfa Romeo driver that is just ice. He'll be on his way in. Oh, I don't know whether that's just a graphical glitch or not, but Wicked Pony just chucked in the fastest second sector of the session according to the track map. Yep,
he is indeed absolutely nailing this. I've been on board the entire lap. He's just coming under the tunnel just now. And yeah, he's been absolutely on fire right now. And again, quite surprising. Yeah, he's quite surprising, but I mean, these tyres will then give him the full optimal grip all the way through the lap, whereas some of the people on the soft might towards Sector 3 not be having the kind of the top end of the range of the grip that they're after.
Well, it was a 1:36.3 was the time that Wicked Pony managed to chuck in on the mediums. I thought it was going to be so much more than that, but now you've got to ask yourself the question, has he made a big mistake there? I think the answer is, yeah, a lot.
Yeah. He can still do a cooldown lap just now, and then potentially... No, it looks like he's pulling over. He was going to have to do a bit of a faster cooldown lap if he's wanting to get another time in, but... well, he's now right on the back of Mr. Nathan. He might get another lap in, but... guess we just have to wait and see, but it's looking like the soft tyre runners are going to be the ones that actually take this fight to Bottas gang.
Yeah, the yellow flag, Sector 2, Sector 3, that's just people getting out of the way. I think Dower's on an outlap, Beaker's on an outlap as well. He's also on mediums, crucially enough. Clearly, he doesn't think it's going to be wet enough for the race start to be inters or wets. Whether that's the right decision or not, that would also help Wicked Pony in that respect then, if that is the case. In terms of best laps though, Wicked Pony was still not the fastest medium runner. Dennis is in fact the fastest medium runner as it stands. Oh, a mistake from Dane. That's a wing gone flying off of his racing point. He is going to come through the final two corners, but he's going to lose a lot of time. And now he's a 1:36.117, only puts himself P9. That is quite concerning.
That is concerning. He's definitely going no higher than 9th now. He won't be able to set another lap time in.
Let's see who's next on a hot lap. I think Lando's Milkman is coming up. No, is his teammate Wicked Pony. Is he backing out? He's in the pits, so he's done and dusted. We have a Haas driver coming up as well, which is not Yonti. That is Lennart, who's also about to start. We have a McLaren, which is not Azia. That is Fluffy Balls, who's also about to start. And then we have the two Ferraris also about to start their hot laps. This is about to get very fine. In fact, look, I don't know if my time's glitched, but half of these drivers aren't going to make it to start a lap.
Yep,
my
that's
time
the
must
time
be glitched.
ticked over, so it must be, we must have the wrong times. Surely wouldn't have made all this mistake.
Well, no, I mean, according to the left-hand side, the checker flag's only out for one person, which is Yappy, who couldn't get a time on due to some connection issues. So yeah, we will have to ignore the time on the top lap. Yeah.
Everyone's got one more lap by the looks of things. We'll just see. It looks like it's Busted that's just came across the start-finish line there. So he's the first person to finish across the line like that.
Oh, Yonti.
He improves no other than 9th.
Look at Yonti, a 1:35.205 on the medium tyre. He smashed that one in hard, and that's, you know, if he's right and the start of the race is actually a dry enough race to start on the dry tyres, then he's really in for a great start.
Yep, absolutely. Although the problem with Singapore is, you know, the weather can come thick and fast, so they might all have to pit at the same time anyway. So we just kind of have to wait and see what the start of this race is like.
Here comes Mr. Nathan's across the line. Is he going to improve? Yes, he does. And he actually chucks in a really good time as well, a 1:34.645. Very close to the lap time that was previously set by Bottas gang.
Yep, that was a stellar attempt, but Bottas gang still sitting at the top of the timings, and he's coming in at the final sector just now, so he should be able to come and cross the line. It looks like he's having a more difficult lap than he had the first time, but still, we'll see if he's able to.
Oh, Dan actually chucked in a very quick time. Look at that, he's only 100th away from Bottas gang. Lucas also came across the line, but he could not do it. And Bottas gang smashes in a new PB, a 1:34.184. That is pole position by far.
Bottas gang is unstoppable in this part of the world.
We like that. I quite like that. I like to see Bottas gang. I mean, he is quick in street circuits in particular. I've seen him do this a lot, and I want to see what he could do in the race. I just hope he's not made the mistake of going onto the softs when it's actually going to be a dry tyre start, but we'll confirm that in just a moment. The qualifying ends as follows. Bottas gang on pole with Dan there in second, Mr. Nathan in third with Dennis in fourth, Fluffy Balls in fifth, Just Ice in sixth, Yonti in seventh, Dower in eighth, Beaker in ninth with Lucas rounding out the top 10 as he couldn't get a lap invalidated. Nick Sander getting best of the rest with Busted there in 12th. Dane in 13th, Wicked Pony 14th, Asia 15th, Lennart 16th, Lando 17th, and couldn't get a time on the board due to connection issues. Yappy in last place. Is it going to be wet? Oh, it's definitely raining, but it's Inters. It's definitely Inters. So those guys that started on the medium tires, they've made mistakes.
Yep. On the plus side, it's not a mistake that's going to punish them during the race. So long as they can get a good start now that everyone's on equal footing, they might be able to get off to gain some positions.
Now, I'm just trying to work out, because Yonti and Beaker are not the kind of guys who make these mistakes very often, if they've made them at all. I can only think the way that they've gone to do this is, if they've qualified on the mediums, maybe they're saving their soft tires for a stint later on in the race, right? So maybe the rain's out long enough for them to go onto mediums and take the mediums to the end of their life and then take softs to the very end of the race. That's a very, very risky strategy if that's what they've gone for. I mean, it's, potential for it to be, a 400 IQ play if, and it's a big if the rain stays out as long as they want it to, and if the softs can be nursed long enough to hold the position without losing it due to the grip. If that's what their plan is, I think that is a very ballsy plan, and I appreciate that. I think it's a bad plan, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to tell from the graphic how long the rain is going to last, but I would like to see it. I really would. My flip side to that coin would be that they've probably decided that they want to start on. They wanted to do the qualifying on mediums in case maybe they had an issue on their lap, or they just felt that the mediums give them better grip throughout the entirety of the lap rather than in the first two sectors.
Yeah.
So they've most likely, as I say, it's more as if they've made potentially if they made a mistake they could have got another lap. And that's one of the Fluffy Balls has spun.
Yep. He's rotated. I don't think that was contact. I think he just made that mistake. If he's not careful, he might end up getting disqualified. Oh, yeah, he's been reset. Okay, so he's been reset back to the start line due to facing the wrong direction. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to drive in the wrong direction. You get in big trouble for it. If you do it in the race, that's an instant disqualification.
Yep. So his tyres are going to be nice and cool for when this starts, which is not ideal. You want them nice and toasty, get the extra grip. But at least no damage, so from that point he's locked out a little bit. He can still take the start of this race and not have any major dramas.
Alright, so we are coming towards the end of the formation lap. Bottas gang will be leading us off the start. And Badger, I've got one question for you then. What is your final podium at the end of this Grand Prix?
I think it's going to be Bottas gang, Dan, and Dennis. Dennis has really impressed me lately with how kind of well and consistent he's been driving overall. So yeah, I think Bottas gang, Dan, and then Dennis.
I don't want to ruin it for you, but Dennis did not have a good race here the other day in the wet. He struggled very hard, and I imagine the stewards are going to punish him severely. However, he is currently in P4, so something's been working for him today. May have the opportunity to recover. I'm going to go Bottas gang, Yonti, Dennis. I think Yonti's going to make a hell of a comeback.
Yeah, that's a big jump for Yonti there. But I mean, Yonti's one of the drivers that you can trust to have a good clean race. So you can definitely see it.
You can indeed. The lights are on then, so Bottas gang's going to lead away. He needs a clean start. And with a bit of a delay, we have a go here. Actually, one of the Alphas there making a big mistake and being slow. That was Just Ice. He's already lost a position as we run in towards turn 1. They are too wide throughout there. Just Ice is alongside Beaker. That is a little bit of contact between him and Beaker. He's still got the position though. Beaker's trying to take it round the outside. I think he might actually keep this move stuck. A little bit of a wobble there from the Ferrari, but it's all good realistically. No changes as it stands right now. There is still a scrap between Yonti and Mr. Nathan. They're going wheel to wheel, and that's still Yonti taking that position. Mr. Nathan will drop behind. Beaker's surely going to send it here. Is he going to find any opportunity? I think he might yeet it. No, he's decided against it. Oh, he had a little bit of a knock there from the Ferrari. It's a little tap into the rear of the Toro Rosso, but so far, a clean first lap.
Yep, and Yonti has made up some of those positions that you were betting on him doing. So that's good for him. He's almost chapping on the door of the podium already.
Oh, Azia's just had a mega contact with him and Dane. I think they were trying to go side by side. I don't know if Azia just turned in a little bit too early, but that's caused Dane to lose 2 places. There's also, that's Just Ice losing the control of his car. Beaker slipped on by. A little freebie there for Beaker.
Yep, he's making the most of the kind of carnage around him. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can see any damage on Azir's car, so that Iron Brew looking car is surviving for another lap at least. And his teammate is still up in 4th, so going alright for the McLarens just now.
Yellow flag sector 2, sector 3. I don't see what it is that's caused it. I can see a car dropping out. Is that Dower that's lost it then? He's got massive wing damage. There's also rotation at the back as well. That's Just Ice, who's fallen right to the back of the grid. Some severe damage and the virtual safety car.
Nick Sana as well, looks like he's dropped some positions. I can't see if his wing's damaged. Nope, doesn't look like it's damaged. He's just dropped back a bit.
He is ghosted though, so he might actually have disconnected.
Yeah, he was ghosted for me, but he's now back. Don't know if that's maybe a glitch on my side.
It's showing that he's not taking control of his car, so maybe he's loading in again. But Bottas Gang setting the new fastest lap. Obviously, lap 1 is over. We also have a restart. Dower into the pits then. He will fall to the back of the grid, probably alongside Just Ice, yes, who's also in the pits. So new front wings for these guys. Obviously with the fact that the rain is due to go away later, there is still an opportunity for them to bring it back.
Yep, and there is looking like a potential disconnection problem with Fluffy Balls. He's apparently 2 minutes behind Dennis, but I guarantee you he's much closer than that.
Yeah, and you can see how close he is. You can actually read his name. That's how close he is to the back of it. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Mr. Nathan staying with Yonti as well. This is a nice little trim we got for the top 6, top 7. 8 is a little bit further back, but only slightly. They're all still got their wing very firmly intact, and for the first time in a while, Beaker's had a pretty solid first lap.
Yep, he's getting up through the field, which is he's gained a couple of positions. But Azir's up by 6 positions. He's had a great first lap.
Clip it quickly, because Azir has a bad history of just suddenly binning it, or so I'm told anyway. But he's currently 6 places up. That makes him the biggest winner, and the biggest loser so far is currently Just Ice, who's lost 12 places. Big heartbreak. It was a bit of an awkward start for him. Even from when the lights went out, that's when everything started to go a bit pear-shaped for him. Losing the rear of his car a little bit. He got bogged down off the start, and then since then he's just had rotation, wing damage, pits, and now he's quite the way back now.
Yep. Look at that gap that Bottas Gang's already pulled out to Dan. 2-second gap.
Yeah, he's looking very cozy. Honestly, he's just on another level when it comes to these circuits. Yellow flag sector 3. Can't see. Oh, is that a Mercedes? I think that might be Wicked Pony that's had an issue. I think it is. Yep, I don't see any damage though. It looks like he's just cooked his tyres.
Yep, he's potentially well caught, but yeah, he's not enjoying these conditions.
I think, like we said before, these guys are going to be going for a dry setup. They're not going to try and go for any sort of wet setup. The rain is not going to stay out long enough, we don't think, or at least what we're told. Again, look at Bottas Gang's lead. It's up to 3 seconds now. He is so happy in these conditions. It makes you wonder, has he gone for a wet setup? Or is he actually just that good in these wet conditions that he's able to manage a dry setup and still pull away quite severely? Come to these dry conditions, he should really be in his element and just run away even further than he is already.
To be honest, I think it is just that he is just that good. I mean, when he gets a lap together, when he's comfortable on a track, he is nigh uncatchable.
Indeed. All right, Dennis on the back of Dan. Dennis actually ready to attack the Ferrari as soon as an opportunity arises. No DRS zones until the home straight now for Dennis, so he's going to have to do this by just being the better driver. Oh, no DRS at all, actually, yeah. Because it's wet.
Indeed. And Mute's picked up a 3-second penalty just a couple of turns ago as well. So that's something he's going to have to contend with. But he's almost got the gap that he would need to Wicked Pony anyway to not lose any positions. But obviously, we still need to do pit stops, so he's going to lose that time in the pits regardless.
Fluffy Balls, he's had an issue. He's lost a few places. And he's also got massive wing damage on the left-hand side. End plate and a lot of the elements missing. He's definitely going to need a trip to the pits, and he's even cutting corners. That's an insta penalty. That's not a surprise. I wouldn't be surprised if he retires, to be honest.
It looks like he's just trying to let people through just now. But yeah, I mean, it's still a long race, you know, 31 laps. It's around this track can take a long, long time, especially in wet conditions like this. So, you know, if he comes in, he can get lucky with a safety car. He could still potentially make some positions up, but obviously, right now when he comes into the pits to get this wing, he's going to be held up for an extra 3 seconds anyway for this penalty. So, definitely go full to the back of the grid just now, but that's just something he'll have to contend with. But there's plenty of laps left.
Yeah, you could say he's fluffed it, and he's left.
Well. Like
watch Dennis, here he is on the back of Dan. This is actually going to be an inside line. Look, it's straight through. Look like Dan moved over to just let him go. He's not even trying to defend this. So Dennis up to P2. And granted, yeah, the gap between him and P1 is quite a way off. Dennis looking a lot more comfortable than Dan. He actually might be in with a chance of closing that gap down on Bottas, Gang.
Oh, and he's sliding. Dennis has had a big slide, but he's managed to catch it as they head back down towards the Singapore sling.
Yep, Dennis looking a little bit shaken now. I don't know if he's just trying to push that a little bit harder now that he's ahead. It's a very different scenario being the car ahead than the car that's chasing. You know, if you're the one that's being chased, you feel this weird sense of pressure, even though you know you're faster than him anyway. But you start to make these mistakes if you don't get yourself in check. And Dennis showing a potential sign that that's causing him a little bit of discomfort. Right now they're at P2, and I'd say he's composing a little bit more than he was a minute ago.
Yeah, absolutely. And Wicked Pony's just caught right back up to the back of Mute. There was nearly a 3-second gap there, but it's now down to just half a second. So he is definitely within that gap of the penalty, and it looks like he's very comfortable and will be able to take that position.
I'm just watching the battle as well here for P6, and I know Mr. Nathan is there in this train for P5. But the way that Lucas is on the back of Beaker, it's an opportunity for him to really push it. Has that been a massive crash? I think Dowett and Just Ice have had a big issue. Yeah, they have! Oh, I thought that was going to be a collision between Just Ice and Fluffy Balls. But it wasn't, as Fluffy Balls' car is, in fact, ghosted. But Just Ice and Dowett both have wing damage. Dowett's missing left side end plate and a bit of elements. Just Ice is missing right end plate.
On my screen, Dowell's actually not missing his end plate, so I don't know if maybe that's...
No, you're right. I thought I saw end plate missing, but I'm a big fat liar.
Car's the only end plate I can see is the missing Just Ice, so he might need another stop. But hopefully he's able to take that round and just wait until the dry period, which might be coming soon.
Lap 5 of 31. We said it a little bit already. We do still have quite a long way to go. We've not seen an official safety car. We have seen a virtual, though. Wicked Pony and Mew going side by side. A little bit of a scrap between the two of them. That was elbows out there for Wicked Pony as he went through the inside. Now he's taking the outside line, and the return has been sent by Mew. And he loses the car, and he has damage.
Yep. Mew does have damage, though. I think he had damage before that turn. I don't know if maybe it scraped the wall a little bit earlier, but yeah, that was quite the squeeze by Wicked Pony, but he's done the job, and he's through up to P13.
Very well done there from Wicked Pony to send it down. A little bit handbags out as well, I think was probably the phrase I would use to go alongside that. But still, you know, P13, he has got a hell of a gap between him and his teammate. 5.8 seconds to P12, and he's still got even more to go when he wants to get towards the points. Worry about that later, I think.
His teammate is actually trying to pressure Busted into making a mistake. He's been staying within that 6/10 kind of gap for a couple of laps now. It looks like he might make a move at some point. He's definitely letting Busted know that he's there.
Dennis sets a new fastest lap, 154.355, which is a big shot towards Bottas Gang. I don't think he's worried as such. Bottas Gang is very comfortably ahead, and he can just nurse his car all the way around. But I am seeing the rain ease off slightly. We're not yet at dry conditions, that's for sure, and even the racing line doesn't show signs of being dry yet. However, I don't think we're that far away from switching to a dry compound tyre.
Yeah, definitely not, and the conditions can change so rapidly in Singapore that, you know, with the humidity and everything, it would be...
Yep.
Once that stops raining, that track's going to dry very, very quickly. But interestingly, if you look at the fuel for Dennis, he's clearly underfueled the car a little bit, knowing that this rain period would allow him to save some fuel, whereas Bottas Gang did not. So Dennis is actually running a lighter car right now as well, which could definitely help him.
Now, this is usual position for anybody who is driving in the wet condition to underfuel, but he needs to actually start getting that back now before we transition into the dry phase, because you're going to need that deployment. You're going to need the engine power to really push away here. And if he's not using that, relying on the battery for the ERS, then he's going to be in a really bad place come the dry session.
Yeah, absolutely. Although with Singapore, you know, high chance of safety car as well, so more potential time to save fuel. Remarkably though, we've had a pretty clean race. There's been no major dramas that have brought out the safety car yet, the full safety car anyway. So at the moment, you know, he's probably okay to be sitting a little bit underfueled, knowing that there's still such a long period of time left in this race that he can save later. He can definitely try and bring on the pressure to Bottas Gang just now, however, and see if there's any cracks in his armour.
Lucas has been very close to the back of the Red Bull of Mr. Nathan for a little while now. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before he finds an opportunity and yeets it. I think we're probably going to see it in a second when he comes to turn 6 and just goes for a long run in his toe. Look how close he is. As he again, 3-second time penalty. That will affect him obviously at the end of the race. Mr. Nathan in trouble now. Here comes Lucas. The exit of dreams is what is needed for Lucas, even more so for Mr. Nathan if he wants to defend it, and I think that's exactly what Mr. Nathan got. This will not be a swap of positions now.
Nope, coming down into the Memorial Corner, and it looks like Mr. Nathan's going to keep the nose in front, which is exactly what he needs to like now try and hopefully move back up closer to Pika and get more of that slipstream off him, which would be ideal. Yeah, it looks like Azir's probably going to lose that position back to Dane come the pit stop phase with that 3-second time penalty. So that's something he'll need to consider into his plans. But at the moment, he's still doing very well. He's still up 7 positions. He's in the points. So when it comes time to stick on those dry tyres or another pair of inters if the rain stays out, he might only lose the 1 position.
Now, I've seen many a race where the transition to dries or transition to wets, anytime you go for the pits, you know, they can make or break someone's race. So there is still plenty of opportunities for anybody, even if you're somebody who's very far out of the position, you know, you can still bring yourself right back into this if you make that call at the perfect time. If anybody makes it slightly later, you know, this is a what are we doing currently? A 150s, you know, 155 upwards lap times on this circuit. You know, to leave a lap time out like that, if you stay 1 lap longer, is so bad for you. You know, you're going to lose a ridiculous amount of time. So you definitely want to make sure you get the timing just right. And rain has stopped. Rain has definitely stopped. We are really getting close now to the dry tires. Oh, Lennart's made a mistake. Busted his through. That was a bit of a wobble there for Lennart. I think we're almost at dry tires, to be honest. I know the track is still pretty damp, but these guys are really starting to struggle on these intermediate tires. I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody come in pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a gamble right now, but it's one that you might be able to take if you're in the kind of fringe area of the points. It could be worth the risk. As Mr. Nathan and I think Landers Milkman also now both got penalties, so that's something else they'll have to contend with. But at the moment, no one's made the call. But if you're Lennart, maybe you can come in.
Oh, Lando's has just gone for a send down the inside of Lennart, and it was a good send, but Lennart's still got the inside for the next, but I think Lando's has got the momentum through the corner, and he's got a better exit. Lennart will stay in P12, or fall down, sorry, to P12. Lando's will gain here to P11. He's got to be feeling really good after that move.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Lennart, he might as well risk it. He might as well come in, put the tyres on. It's definitely going to be dry in a lap or two anyway. So if you come in, potentially make an absolute hero move. If not, it looks like those tyres are cooked for him anyway. So
yeah,
he's going to be losing time regardless. He might as well come in, put the dry tyres on, and see what he can do.
Now here's the difficult bit, right? You can pit now to get hards and go all the way to the end of the race without any issue from a tyre wear perspective. However, from a pace perspective, if you chuck hards on now, they are so much harder to get to temperature, even in dry conditions. If you're thinking of anything other than mediums right now, you're in a world of pain. But again, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Oh, we have got pit stops lining up. Yonti's in. We also have Mr. Nathan coming into the pits as well. And I think Lucas realised, whoops, I should have gone in now. This is bad news bears for me. Watch Yonti's pace. He's gone for hards. He's gone exactly as I was saying.
Dane is also, he's managed to get another penalty, and so is Lucas. Lucas managed to get another penalty now for another warning. So all these penalties are now racking up for everybody, and it's looking like it is now a race to the pits.
Yeah. The track looks like it's just completely... You know when you buy a new TV and you have the cover over the top of it and you go pull it off and it's just a brand new TV? That's how this track looks right now. You take that cover off, the rain's gone, and suddenly the track is almost ready for some dry tyres. Virtual safety car being out right now means anybody who's in the pits is actually gaining even more so than before. So Wicked Pony, for example, who had a bit of a mare at the beginning of the race, is suddenly looking so much better when all these guys in the top 6 bring themselves into the pits, and all those outside from P14 onwards, they're going to lose a lot of time here.
Yeah, this is actually a disaster for the top drivers right now. They could potentially be jumped by some of the midfield pack. It just depends how long this virtual safety car stays out and how much time they've lost to their competitors.
And Bottas gang is coming up to the third sector. Well, he's just started, sorry, the third sector. So there's an opportunity for him to chuck it in here and actually get onto some dry tyres, providing he feels as though that is how the track is at. And looking at it right now, I cannot see any rain on the circuit at all. This has got to be, ready to go now for dry tyres. The big key giveaway is when it says DRS re-enabled in the bottom left-hand corner. If that shows up when these go into the pits, that is perfect timing.
Yep, absolutely. And here
Bottas is in.
Now. And,
there it is.
Dennis and Dan will also be coming in. This is perfect for him, but hopefully he's not lost too much time from the safety car.
I actually think he's gained. If he'd have gone, if the safety car hadn't have come out, he'd have been a bit earlier than he wanted to be, and he would have been in a position where the tyres would not be quite as warm as he wanted them to necessarily. But Dennis is in as well.
Yep,
sorry,
hard tyres for Bottas and for Dennis by the looks of things, and is it also? I think it's also hard tyres for Dan. So the top 3 have came in and put hard tyres on. They plan on going to the end.
Yeah, the hard part is going to be the first couple of laps. These tyres will take at least 2 laps, even in fully dry conditions, to get them to temperature. Obviously, these guys are going on a track that is still pretty cold. It's only just had rain on it. Yeah, it dries out very quickly, as proven here. But it's so hard to get hards ready and good to go.
Yep, and Yonti's managed to feed us back into 4th place. Beaker right behind him. So that's actually worked out not too badly for everyone in the top 5. Lucas, however, he's dropped down to P6 now. I think was he in P5 before this? Before the pits?
Well, he's actually gained 4 places overall. I don't know where he was right before we went into the pits, but Lucas still he's in a much better position than he was before. Wicked Pony, like we said earlier, he had a rough start. He's claimed back up to 3 places gained overall, and this is good. He's still in with a chance for some points. He's only 1.1 seconds away from Busted, who's the gatekeeper for all those points positions. I think Wicked Pony might be in for a good haul here.
Yep, Azir's got a lot of work to do though, because everyone else around him is on the hard tyre. So he's going to need to gain some positions, try and get some overtakes done, because he will most likely need to pit again. I doubt those medium tyres are going to make it to the end. Same for Lando's, he's stuck mediums on, and Nixana. So they're all going to have a bit of a challenge now for the end of this race.
Now the Mercedes boys are actually fighting each other right now. They might be working together. I don't think they're in cahoots though, if I'm honest. We'll see if Wicked Pony's about to get a nudge. Oh, Landers Millman kept that one just outside of his teammate's backside, but
I mean,
Wicked Pony
should let him go now. He needs to let him go. He's on the softer tyres. He's going to need to pit again. You're not losing this position. You're just giving him an opportunity to make his strategy work. Holding him back right now is not beneficial to the team. But at the same time, Mercedes are so far ahead in the Constructors' Championships. Who am I to question their decisions?
I think Lando's might actually be overall more beneficial to Wicked Pony. Like you said, if he lets him by, Wicked Pony can use the tow from Lando's. He can manage his ERS so much easier, he can manage his fuel so much easier, and also he can rely on Lando's pace to carry him forward. Overall, Wicked is only hurting himself here by not letting his teammate go. Yep. Looks like Lando got the exit he needed. He's down the inside. Wicked Pony lets him go, and I think he realizes kind of what we were saying. This is good for me. I'm now just going to use the tow and DRS.
Yep, and that's busted with another penalty. So he will have to contend with that come the end of this race. He's most likely not going to be stopping again. But now Lando's been unleashed. He can now chase up to the back of Busted and wave hello.
Yeah, very much indeed. I mean, already, look how quick Lando's has caught up to the back of Busted. Like, something is working for Lando's right now. Yeah, obviously he's on the mediums in comparison to Busted's hards, but clearly the confidence of the drivers in the car is just totally different. Like, Lando's looks so much more confident than anyone else around him right now.
Yeah, he knows he needs to get the foot down. He's got absolutely make this strategy work. He needs to at least be a second or so faster than the guys around him. So he needs to get through the traffic, which around here can be quite difficult. But you know, if he's going to do it, if he's going to make the strategy work, he needs to make sure that he gets through that.
So just as a little explanation as to how fast Bottas Gang is right now. Just a minute ago, set the fastest lap of the circuit so far, and he did that on hard tyres. He did a 1:42 was his fastest time. The next fastest, which has actually just been beaten by Azia, was a 1:39.9. Azia on mediums, 1:39.7. That is, we're really seeing the times come in. Virtual safety car. What's happened? That is a Haas driver that's not moving. That's Lennart. He's out.
Yep, Lennart is out. I can't quite see what happened, but it looks like Dower is coming up to him now. We can see. Yeah. It looks like he's probably just binned it in the. Yeah,
that's a big.
That's going to catch some people out. Definitely going to be a heart attack when you're coming through there.
Yeah, exactly. And if the barrier sticks out any more than that, you know, we could see a potential big crash coming into that later. Virtual safety car is still out there. We've not yet seen it disappear. I don't think we're going to see a full safety car.
That's Lennart's car now being removed though, so for the rest of the drivers out, for Nixana, he doesn't need to worry about that. But Nixana's still ghosted on my screen, so I don't know if he's actually managed to retake his seat.
We have resumed. We are back racing once more. Busted is still under attack from Lando's Milkman, and Wicked Pony has used this opportunity to close up as well. And I think the Mercedes boys are actually going to work together quite hard, and they should. This is great for Wicked Pony. He can go right to the end on these tyres. And right now, in terms of the mediums hards, it's actually looking pretty much the same, despite the fact that Lando's has that pace difference. When it comes to the overall position changes, Wicked Pony will still be better off than Lando's will be.
Yep, absolutely. One of the only person really that's on the mediums right now that's in the top 10 is Azia, and he has got about a 2.2 second gap to Mr. Nathan, so he's going to need to get a move on. He'll need to get up the field if he's going to make a strategy of his work.
Busted still under attack. I think Lando's is going to have him probably even on the home straight if he can. But ideally, you don't want to do that because he's easy to come straight back at you when you get to the next DRS zone. The difference maker is that Lando's is that much faster than Busted. And I don't think Busted can do much about this. He defended hard in towards turn 1. It compromised his line through turn 2 and a little bit through turn 3. But he knows his time is over. He will not hold the points positions anymore. He will lose out as Lando's Milman will get the exit he needs as Mr. Nathan Dana swap places, but the DRS tow is too strong. He's taking the outside line. There's a bit of contact between them. They almost put each other into the wall. Landos Millman's still there, actually. Busted has actually not surrendered the position. They are still scrapping, but eventually Landos Millman will get the job done. Busted will now fall to P11. It's now whether or not Wicked Pony can get past him. He has to go. He can't let his teammate run away. Otherwise, this plan will go backwards, and Dane has crashed. He's out of this race. He is coming up in just a second.
Just right up in front of them, right in front of these drivers.
Oh, wow, that's a big crash.
Yep. And that's another safety car.
Yeah, another virtual. We've not seen a full one just yet, but I mean, a full one is what some of these drivers are hoping for, especially Dower. 47.9 seconds gap between him and Wicked Pony. This is not looking good for him.
No, absolutely not, but a full safety car would really spice things up right now. You've got the different mix of tyres and the different, the different conditions. So I would quite like to see a full safety car, but I don't think we're going to get it now. That's the way the game works. You're, for a 50% race, I think you're only allowed 4 safety cars, and that's the third one. So only one more chance for a full safety car to come out and bring this pack back together.
Well, we are back racing once more. The only battle really that's going on is Wicked Pony on the back of Busted. The gap already between Landos and Busted has already extended to 1.6 seconds.
Yep, he as soon as those lights went out, he put the foot down.
Yeah, he did not hesitate at all to just start already pulling away. He's already almost at 2 seconds, the gap between him and Busted. 6.3 between him and Azir, but they both have the same strategy, so that's exactly who he is racing. DRS wing wide open for Wicked Pony, but the gap being too big means he will not be able to pass him just yet, but he can use this to recover his gap lost and start working on that Red Bull somehow.
Azir actually lost 2 seconds to Mr. Nathan under that safety car. I mean, the tyres are definitely not going to be cooked already, so it's maybe just from where the safety car ended, he was caught out. He's on the slower part of the track, but that's he's lost a lot of time there. So he'll be hoping to get that back, but Mr. Nathan, he's actually catching up to the back of Lucas.
And if he can actually get that move done as well, this is really good for Mr. Nathan. Again, obviously we don't know all the penalties in total. We do know that they have got them. We just need to work out after the race where that puts them all. But Mr. Nathan, in DRS range of Lucas, albeit just barely. Look at that, 9/10 between them. That could very easily slip outside of that if he makes mistakes here, but he has a few more corners to recover that. So we've lost 3 drivers so far in this race. 15 remain.
So most of the penalties will have already been served in the pits, so I believe it should hopefully just be a straight fight to the end of this Grand Prix, unless anyone's had any since the dry period started.
Well, you don't serve 3-second ones in the pits. You only serve the 5-second ones in the pits. So all of the 3s will stay on their car right to the end, which is, I guess in a way you kind of wish you could serve in the pits, because then you know where you are at the time of when you got to go back on the track and go for it. But at the same time, it gives these guys an opportunity to manage it through their race pace, and whether they need to deploy a little bit more or whether they need to stay in the tow a little bit more. But Mr. Nathan, he is looking on fire right now. Yeah,
he's certainly getting in nice and close to Lucas, If he can make this position, there's obviously another bit of a gap to get to Bika, but being in top 6, that would be a good comeback for him.
Especially on a circuit as tough as this, if you can get a really good point scoring position, and not only does it help you with your drivers' championship standing position, but it also helps you mentally. That this is such a big win for anybody who can score big here. It's such a hard track, a very long race indeed. And a very grueling one with the tyre wear conditions. Managing your car through here is such a hard... In fact, I actually remember watching the F1 race last year. Oh, that's not going to help you, though. A 3-second time penalty. Bad news bears for him. The only hope and prayer he's got now is if Lucas has got the same.
Yep, he's... I believe I saw Mr. Nathan get another one earlier as well, so that could be 6 seconds in total. But he's just got to put that in the back of the mind and continue attacking, because the only way you can make a difference now is if you put that foot to the floor and make the positions up.
Busted is struggling so much. Wicked Pony is all over him. He is so ready to just fire away, and Landos has already brought his gap quite large now between him and P10. A 4.4 is where it stands, but he needs to break around about, I think it's 21 seconds, on this track for a pit stop. So if he can push out that far, which I think is pretty hard considering, then he might be able to cover himself off for a free pit stop and then battle with Azzy to the end. But ultimately, you're only fighting for a P8 there.
Yeah, absolutely. Though, depending on when he comes in, if he sticks on the soft tyres, he might not need to have the full 21 seconds. He would obviously, if you can get like a 15-second gap or so, then come back out in the softs and be just that much faster than everyone around him. He should be able to make up a couple of positions again.
So, Wicked Pony still sitting here with Busted. There was an opportunity to attack, but he wasn't close enough. So he's just going to have to nurse it, manage his car around. In terms of ERS levels, though, it's actually Busted who's better off. He's 60%. I mean, granted, he's marginally better off. But normally the car that's being chased is the one that struggles with ERS management because the car behind can dictate it. I don't think, though, Wicked Pony quite understands how to do that. It's quite a hard technique to pull off. You need to apply pressure to the driver ahead, but in his mind he's thinking, I still have a very long way to go in this race. I got to do 23 laps overall on these hard tyres, so I can't really afford to not manage myself a little bit. Yonti, penalty.
That's has the potential to cause him some issues because Biko will be informed that there's Yonti's had a penalty and he will absolutely pick up the pace trying to get within that gap.
Yeah, but I think Beacon himself is struggling on this circuit. This is not a circuit he's particularly good at. He struggles when it comes to street circuits overall. Yonti here in particular can be a very fast driver. I've not seen that pace from him since F1 2018. So, we are talking quite some time ago, but, that doesn't mean that it's just suddenly disappeared from him. He still has that capability to do it. He just needs to actually go ahead and deploy that. Busted, though. Still holding back Wicked Pony. Again, not getting the exit that he needed in order to attack Busted. The ERS levels, though, are still looking pretty similar.
Yep, and you've got Bottas gang enjoying life out the front, just dictating the pace. He's got a massive gap of 4.2 seconds.
Oh, no.
Oh, no. That's certainly put a dent in the Wicked Pony's challenge. Although I think I saw Busted get one earlier, so now it's just a straight fight.
I think Busted's actually got a couple, so in a way, Wicked Pony is still better off, but you still want to push, you still want to go for it. You still, realistically, you're fighting now in this current fight for P8. This is where they're going to be later. Yellow flag sector 2. I don't see any causes for concern, and maybe Dower potentially. Oh, he's got damage left side. It was definitely Dower then. Oh, he's got damage right side now, or has he? He hit that wall a bit harder than I would have hoped, and no damage on the right side, but left one is in bits.
Left gone. Not what you want. Oh no! Now he's in the wall. He's put it in the wall.
I missed it. I looked away right as it happened.
Full safety car has coming out.
Oh, this is huge. Watch the pit lane.
Everyone has just passed the pits. Every single driver has just went past. So the first person that will be able to get in will actually be Just Ice.
And he should. Mediums from here to the end. Big.
Absolutely should. Every single hard runner definitely needs to come in. Otherwise, they're going to be sitting ducks on this restart.
Now, actually, Azir and Landos, they could go into the pits and re-pit for mediums and go to the end. They've already done the difference in tyre because they all went to the intermediates. So anybody who's on their tyre right now can go on the same tyre again. But realistically, everybody's going to want to go onto the mediums. The worry, though, is the ones that are going to double stack. I'm looking more specifically towards Ferrari. The gap is a little bit large, so they should be able to pull this off without a problem. But it's still narrow.
The only other team... Really, well, there's two other teams, 3 teams actually now. I can see. So the Renaults, they'll potentially do it, but Nixana doesn't look like he's actually here, so that won't matter. The Ferraris, the Iron Brew, McLarens, and the Mercedes boys, they're all going to double stack. But again, Mercedes are not really going to lose out much because Wicked Pony's at the back of that position anyway, so he won't actually miss out no matter how long it takes him because of how long the safety car is going to be out. He'll catch back up to the back of the pack regardless, so he won't actually lose any positions.
Here we go, everyone's in. Everybody is coming in. Just Ice was the first to get in. He's going to get on mediums, brand spanking new ones, and go again. Nixana is also in the pits as well, despite the fact that he's actually not there. And I think, has he held up Bottas Gang? No, he's not. Bottas Gang's already on his way out, so we're all good from that perspective. We just have to see who comes out where. After all of these pit stops are finished, Bottas Gang will resume his race lead. But has Yonti been able to close that gap on Dan? No, he hasn't. Well, he will have because of the safety car, obviously, but I thought he might be able to actually jump down in the pits. Nope, is the answer.
Yep, so it looks like Bottas Gang actually just got multiple warnings and got 3 seconds penalty, and then 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So he now has an 8-second penalty to serve at the end of this race. So he needs to build up an 8-second gap after the safety car goes. He needs to put the foot down or he's not going to win this race.
That's actually a massive dent in his race now. If he has that huge penalty applied to him, yes, he was rapid, we know that. But is he rapid enough to, within the next, what's that, 22 laps? Sorry, 12 laps? Can't count. Is he actually going to be able to break 8-second gap to Dennis? I don't think he can. I think that's way too much to ask.
I mean, he might be able to maintain a podium, but I can't. 8 seconds unless Dennis has penalties as well. But I think Bottas Gang actually cut the pit entry, which gave him the multiple warnings, and then he also, while trying to slow it down, got the 5 seconds. So he effectively got 8 seconds for one move, which is a very harsh penalty. Maybe something that the stewards would look at after this race, but for certainly as it stands, that's something that usually sticks.
I don't think the 5 will be removed purely because, you know, speeding the pit lane is a serious offence regardless. You know, you can't look away at that at all. If that was in a real life circumstance, you're talking risking people's lives there. Obviously, we know this is virtual world, but we aim for simulation. We aim to be as close to real life as possible. Bottas Gang is sat in race lead, but penalties applied will lose a lot of positions if it was to finish as they are right now.
Yep. He needs to hope the safety car comes in as soon as possible so he can put the foot down and try and build a gap. But at the moment, he is, you know, potentially losing all of his hard work. And in one turn, he's potentially ruined his race.
Safety car still out. More than likely will be in at the end of this lap. Although we haven't yet got all of the drivers back together. And we're still waiting for Busted and Wicked Pony to catch up. We also have Just Ice, who's quite the way back as well. Nixana and Fluffy Balls are actually in the train of cars, but they are lapped. So they will not be able to unlap themselves, at least not just yet. It will take a lot of coordination from the drivers ahead in order to do that. But Nixana's going to find it hard because he's not actually here.
Yep. I'm just having a wee look. I think Yonti's got at least 3 seconds as well, so that's, you know, potential small saving grace for Bottas Gang, but it's certainly can't see any for his immediate rivals.
I mean, penalties applied at the end of this race is going to be crazy, to be honest. You know, there are a lot that have been dished out. We're just not exactly sure who's got what and where, so we're going to have to wait for the checkered flag to fall before we can ascertain who's going to finish, you know, in P1 even, for that matter, because even our race leader has managed to accrue himself a lot of penalties in just a single corner. Big problems for him, a lot to recover from, and the longer this safety car stays out, the harder this is going to be for him to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. As I say, I can't see any penalties for Dennis and Dan. Dan's had some warnings, and I think Dennis did get a penalty, but I'm not sure if that was served under the initial pitch for the intermediates. So yeah, we'll see. We'll have to wait and see what happens when the crosses the line. But 10 laps to pull out 8 seconds. It's a tall order.
Honestly, Azir and Landos have been dished a massive helping hand here. They were looking like they were going to lose a lot of time having to repit again later from the mediums to whatever tire they were going to go on to. I imagine it was going to be mediums to softs because obviously they were going to take the tires a lot further than they had taken them already. But obviously now they've got the safety car, they were able to get brand new boots on, they were able to close the gap very, very quickly. Yes, this is going to be a hell of a DRS train if they can manage the pace to stay with these guys ahead of them, but this is looking really good for them. They could actually gain themselves a fair few freebie positions.
Yep, absolutely. They've certainly the lucky ones in the safety car period, and both of them are massive gainers in terms of positions overall. Azur's up 7 positions and Lando's Milkman is up 8, so they've both done stellar jobs from their starting positions, and now they just need to maintain that pace until the end of the race.
We'll find out as we get to the beginning of the third sector whether or not the safety car is going to be in. I imagine it is going to be. As you can see in the map on the right side, everybody has bunched back up again. The safety car has caught them all together. So, racing will resume at the end of this lap, and we will see how Bottas Gang's restarts will be. He needs to give himself the biggest helping hand he can by getting the exit of Dreams as he restarts this race. And then just uses that to carry the momentum forward, pull himself further away from Dennis, and just hope and pray that 8 seconds can be achieved.
You know, probably the biggest thing for Bottas Gang right now would be to hold up everyone as much as he can so that Dan is sitting there waiting to attack Dennis. And then when Bottas Gang eventually does go, if he can get them 2 fighting, that does him wonders. If they fight for maybe 2 or 3 laps, trying to assert who's going to finish on the second place in the podium, he could easily pull out a 2 or 3 second gap just in those few laps.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing these guys are going to think about. They need to think about the later stages of the race. They don't want to think about, oh no, that was a big crash. That was actually Dennis who's got wing damage on the left-hand side. There was contact. Bottas Gang broke pretty hard. Dennis went into the back of him and has damaged his left end plate. Dennis's race has been hindered yet again, and this is not good for him. We would just talk about how much he would need in order to pull it back. Well, I mean, if that was intentional from Bottas Gang to try and help his own race, that was a very naughty move. Either way, I think he might be in trouble with the stewards regardless.
I think what's happened is it came up saying the safety car was in this lap, and he slowed down to try and get a gap. I was actually on board with Bottas Gang. It didn't look like he braked too hard, so it might have just been in terms of relative speed to how the safety car was pulling away. But that's certainly
he's got another one. He's got another
penalty.
penalty because we've got race restart, and Dan went into the back of him as well. I think Dan might actually still be okay wing-wise, but this is a restart that Bottas Gang needed.
Yep, he needs to get away now and hope that Yonti will come and fight Dan. But that's disaster, absolute disaster for Dennis.
Yeah, 10 seconds of penalties applied to his race. I don't think he's going to serve more than 5 in the pits, but Dennis's race went from being really good with an ambition to be on the podium to awful and out of the points. So we'll see now if that changes post-race. I highly, highly doubt it will affect too much. However, Bottas Gang's restart was pretty clean. He's managed to build a gap quite nicely. 7 tenths, 8 tenths, almost 9 now between him and Dan. Dan is doing well, but Yonti is coming.
Yep, Yonti is on the back of him, and he's certainly much closer to Dan than Dan is to Bottas. He's already out of DRS zone for Bottas Gang, and that's exactly what Bottas Gang needed to do. He needs to try and build up that gap and just go. He needs to hit the floor, and he needs to hope that Yonti will fight Dan and slow them both down. But looking at that, Lucas is also on the back of Bika. He's coming up quite close. Whether he's going to try and make a move. And that's another 3-second penalty for Bika for just extending the track ever so slightly. I mean, it didn't look too bad from Lucas's car, but the game picks you up on these things quite frequently. So.
Yep, exactly. And Bika's the kind of guy who that will affect him. He will have a negative mindset right now. And racing is so much mentality as well as physical strength, and endurance in order to keep yourself going in these races. Oh, that's actually Mr. Nathan running seriously wide. That gap has extended between him and Lucas quite drastically. 2 seconds is where we are already. Azir and Landos have already gained up to P7 and P8. So it's looking good for them overall. And if they can pass Mr. Nathan, they need to figure out a way to close the gap on Lucas.
Yep. Dan's actually picked up the pace. He's managed to catch up a little bit to Bottas Gang and take up a gap to Yonte, which is again exactly what Dan needs to do. And that's potentially putting Dan in the driver's seat to win this race.
It would be a dream for Dan to win this race, especially with the penalties that have been applied to Bottas Gang. That dream is potentially a reality, but we'll have to see if Dan can do it, and I think he might be able to.
Just Ice as well, just right on the back of Wicked Pony, but he's just sliding out as he's trying to get the power down. Coming up to the Singapore sling, he's just not able to put the pressure on as much to the drivers in front. He's just losing the back end slightly, but here we go. I thought he was going to make a dive under braking there, but nope, he's keeping behind. But it looks like potentially a move coming up from Busted onto Lando's. Lando's went pretty wide. But nope, it's fine, all good, everyone maintains position.
We'll keep a firm eye on this battle here. It is a long battle. P6 down to P11, just as getting a penalty for cutting that curb on the inside just a little bit too much, but he is so much quicker than the guys ahead of him. He just can't find a way through, and that's the hard part of the circuit. You know, you get stuck in a DRS train, you're not passing anybody. You'll need a massive exit in order to pull it off, and DRS has been re-enabled. We've actually lost Beaker. Oh, he's lost it on the final corner. He's gone straight off into the wall on the right hand side, and his race is over. So now everybody is getting places. Azia's up to P6 right now as well, with Lando's Milkman who's into P7. They could not look better.
Yep, this has actually worked out very well for Azia and Lando's Milkman. The position gained, it's a 9 for Azia, and Lando's Milkman up 10 positions. Very good race for both of them, but they are right now on the DRS train, trying to just catch up to the back of Busted. Sorry, Mr. Nathan. And right now they're closing the gap, but they're not quite able to overtake.
Now the battle of...
Here goes Lando's Milkman on Azia. Azia went a bit wide, but now it's, he's just managed to hold the position. So it's a mistake from Azia, nearly let Lando's Milkman overtake in at 6th position. Just as now they come up to Singapore Sling, Lando's Milkman can smell blood there, but now his back end steps out and he's not able to take it. He's not able to take advantage.
He's panicking as well because Busted is right on the gearbox of him. If any mistakes are made from Lando's, Busted will absolutely eat it, and he will not resist at all, especially with the fact that Wicked Pony, who's also right here as well, he's stuck in a Mercedes sandwich, and who's also got pressure from Just Ice. This is so intense for all of the drivers involved. The only person who's really going to be trying to push extra hard here is Just Ice, who needs to try and get anything out of this now and just cover off a couple of positions, get some more points and recover. He's got a few penalties as well, which will not really help him when it comes to jumping a few people post-race. But Azia, in P6, the mentality he needs to control himself here, especially with the right end plate missing, is so hard for him now.
Yep, absolutely. I think he can just wave goodbye to Mr. Nathan. I think his focus right now should just be on defending. This is a track that you can absolutely defend and make your car as wide as possible. So for Azia, it is definitely a possibility to maintain that P6. He just needs to make sure now he doesn't get any penalties and he keeps his car as intact as it is right now. Make the most of that slightly damaged wing and just try and take it to the end. But the people behind him are not going to make that easy.
Lando's is coming for Azia. He's got the wing open. He's got a mud 4. He's going for the outside line. It was very tight, and Azia gave him sufficient space, and he has to back out. Is he going to yeet it? No, he's not. There was an opportunity for him to go for it. It would have been a very hard overtake to pull off. But Lando's has to get past him very quickly because the gap between him and Mr. Nathan is actually extending. It's 1.7 now. Bear in mind, he was actually within DRS range at one point in this race, and now he's not, and he's falling further back. Lando's is seeing P5 starting to slip away from him now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as they're coming up to turn 13 now, that's Azia's a little bit wide, and if Lando's not going to get the power down, he might be able to get this into the braking zone at turn 14. But no, it just looks like Azia's got the good straight line speed there, and he's not able to make the dent that he would need to do. So, yeah, he's holding on very well to his position.
I'm going to be honest, I am very impressed by Azia's drive today. Yes, he's got a little bit of wing damage, and yeah, he's lucked out quite a lot when the safety car came out and rescued his race a little bit, but at the same time, he's kept his composure. He's kept himself pretty much on the track all the time, and I don't think I've actually seen, I don't want to jinx it either, I don't think I've seen many, if any, penalties on Azia's car.
No, I don't think I've seen it. I think I got a warning earlier, but other than that, I think he's been racing very well. But as Dan is now back into the DRS zone of Bottas Gang, he is hunting him down. And it looks like, yep, none of them have got damage, so it's definitely just on merit. Dan is He knows that this win is on the cards for him, and he is coming. He's got the DRS open there, and he is hunting down Bottas gang.
As he's in trouble now, he's got not just one car about to pass him, who's going to pass him pretty easily. As he's going to need a really strong defensive driver. He's trying to squeeze him. He's got it. He's fine. Lando's has got through, but now he's got busted there with him. It's actually still side by side, but Lando surely has to get this position. As he's sticking it to him the whole way through, he's blocking them down the inside. There's, oh no! There's contact, and that puts Lando's wing into barrel there. He's got left wing damage, and that's actually lost as your position as well. He tried so hard to fend it off, and everything that we just said has just been undone. Everything went right, and now it's just gone so wrong for both Azir, who's just got a penalty as well. This is where the mentality cracks. The pressure got too much to him, and things started to fall apart for him, and he just got a little bit over-eager to defend that position.
Dan's also just received a 3-second penalty, so he has potential. If Yonte can stay nice and close to this, Dan might also lose out. Obviously, it looks like at the moment he's still going to be gaining over Bottas because he's got that extra 5-second penalty. But if Dan now makes any more mistakes, this win might not be his.
Azir is under attack from Just Ice now, and he's very much in lick my wounds and limp home mode for the next 4 laps to go. 5 if you include the remainder of the one that they're on right now. And, you know, that's the thing to think about now. Yes, you've had a great race. Right now, you're about to lose so many points positions, and all because you got just a little bit over-eager, a little bit too into it.
But yeah. He's decided that he needs that in that new wing. You can't make it all the final few laps. So it's now hopefully just if he can get in and out and then defend that 10th position. That's his main goal right now.
Bottas Gang's race has pretty much just ended, realistically. I mean, he's still going to get a really good point scoring position, but those 8-second penalties will apply to him, and Just Ice is going down the inside of Azir here. There's going to be another defensive drive. There's going to be a late break from Azir. He's going to still stick it down the inside. There's going to be a little bit of contact between the two, but overall, Just Ice will be able to hold this down. You've actually got Wicked Pony trying to get down the inside as well, but he just gets a little bit of a rotation there from contact, and that's just held him back, but overall, he's still in with this fight. Just Ice up to P7.
Yep. Wicked Pony is sniffing at the back of this, wanting to get on and catch up again to Just Ice. He knows that Azir's limping, so he just needs to make a move, pick his own and go for it.
Well, he's already ready to go for it. Look at this. That was a mistake made into the hairpin for Azir, which is allowing Wicked Pony to use the outside line, but I don't think he's going to be able to get the move done unless he goes for a deep dive. He looked at it, but no, the invitation was not signed with candle wax. He's decided, I'll wait for that later.
Yeah, he won't even be able to get the position now until they come out of the bay, because at this point, you know, in the track, it's very, very, very difficult to make an overtake. So probably down into turn 1 is the best bet.
Meanwhile, up at the front of the grid, we do still have the battle for P1, which is Bottas Gang leading, but I think Dan has opted more for it. Unless I can get an easy overtake on Bottas Gang, I'm not going to go for it. And that's logical. He doesn't have to. In terms of penalties, he's much better off than Bottas Gang is right now, and that is a very simple P1 achieved. All he's got to do is manage the ERS, which currently both of them are struggling with. But he also just has to stay in his DRS range. That's it. Nothing more. He doesn't have to do anything further.
Yep, I mean the top 4 actually are very limited on the ERS. All of them are under 30 or around about 30%. So Busted, I don't know why he's coasting so much. He's still in 60-70% range.
Oh, hold that thought. Wicked Pony's going to go for a yeet down the inside. They're actually going to go side by side, wheel to wheel. He's going to push Azir off onto the outside line. He held it pretty tightly, and I think he held it more than fairly. And Azir, for the first time in this race, has managed to defend pretty solidly and will remain in P8 for now.
Yep, but this is going to be happening to him most corners now for the end of this race. He's certainly feeling the lack of wing on that vehicle. It's not helping his case at all. But if Wicked Pony can just mount a solid charge, but again he's not really got the ERS to play with. Maybe if you can stay behind him for just a lap or two and use the slipstream, regain the ERS, and then just throw it up into hot lap and then make an attempt. But at the moment, it's kind of half-hearted attempts to get by.
Now, Just Ice has actually recovered beautifully. Look at this. He's in with the chance of not just taking P6, but also P5. But he has to do this quickly. He has to pass Mr. Nathan on this next lap, and then he has to make the move done on Busted the lap after. It will be a final lap change of positions if he can achieve it. But, you know, anything can happen here. Actually, I think Dan might actually go for it on Bottas Gang. This is a DRS opportunity for him right here. 4/10 is the gap currently. The pace difference should be tremendous for Dan, but I think he's just a bit too far back unless it's a late break session. It's not, and it will be still Bottas Gang P1. Yellow flag sector 1, though. Who's that? That's Mercedes. Is that Landos? No, it's Wicked Pony. Oh, he's had a mare. He's not actually damaged his car, but his tyres must be absolutely cooked. Yes, they are 120 degrees rear right. He is not going to be able to control the car very easily for very long.
So Just Ice managed to get past Mr. Nathan on the start-finish straight. Mr. Nathan went just a little bit wide into the penultimate corner, and Just Ice sailed on by, and now he's hunting after Busted. So he's got, as you say, just a couple of laps to catch up to the back of them and take him.
The issue is, though, the gap has extended now, you know, between him and Busted. He's got to use this lap to close the gap, and he's got to use the next lap to attack him. The other thing he's got to do is manage that ERS. He's on 43%, and if he uses any of it to properly burn it and catch up to Busted, he runs the risk of not having enough to actually secure the overtake when we come to the final lap. However, don't hesitate. There is still a chance for him to do this. He just has to get into DRS for lap 30 and then go for the overtake on lap 31. He just has to make sure the next 2 laps are perfect.
Yep, he needs to be very clean, and again, Lucas has actually come up to the back of Yonti here. He's not going to be able to make a move right now, but maybe as they're going through up to Memorial Corner on 7, he might be able to make catch up there, because he's now getting right on the back of them. He's only just a few tenths behind.
Race leaders, they're about to duke it out on the second to last lap. Bottas Gang is the race lead, but he's about to lose everything. He's turned his ERS mode off because he knows that Dan is going to easily get him here, and it's not worth fighting for. The penalties being on his car as well will not help him, and he's got another one to add insult to injury. I think realistically now, he's not just going to lose P1 or even P2. I think he's going to fall down quite far. Probably even go P4. As Busted is 11.1 off.
Now,
yeah, I think it's P4.
But still, I mean, at the end of the day, he's had a good race. He can be proud of himself. He's just off.
Oh, Azia! He's made a mistake. That's straight into the side of the Red Bull, and Red Bull's in the wall. Mr. Nathan got a huge shunt there from Azia. I think he just went for a send it down the inside, and that was a big mistake, and that has absolutely crucified Mr. Nathan's wing. His race is very much hindered now.
Yep, he has no elements left on that wing. I don't even know how you'd be able to get round this track with a wing that looks like that. So he might even need to come into the pits, but he might try and just limp home on this one lap and, you know, try and get across the line, but I can see he's probably going to be falling out at the points.
Yeah, I think Azzy might be in trouble with the stewards for that move. That was a very, I mean, it was an ambitious attempt, we'll give him that, but it was a daft attempt, if I'm being honest. He should never have gone for that move. I think he's just a little bit disheartened based on the fact he knows where he could have been. He's frustrated with himself, and he wanted to redeem himself somehow, get a little bit of a reward. Yeah, physically on track, he's got it right now, but I think when the stewards get hold of him, I would be surprised if he stays there. We'll think about that later. But Bottas Gang and Dan are going to be attacking on the final lap, as we see Dan has leading, but Bottas Gang mode 0, I think he knows there's no benefit here. There's no point in me attacking.
He just wants Dan to pull him away and get a bigger gap, but to be honest, I don't think he's going to pull up a big enough gap that those penalties are not going to come into effect. I don't think Lucas has any penalties, so yeah, he's P4 unless something else drastic happens, but his fuel warning light is also on, so he might need to kind of lower his fuel usage, because it's flashing red, which I believe means you've not got enough to make it to the end of the lap.
Right, here we go then for the remainder of the final lap. It has been a brilliant show from Bottas Gang so far in this race. He gave everything he could, but one corner ruined his race, and that was all his own fault. Dan has actually drove incredibly well to secure this P1 position. He just has to nurse it through the final lap. And it doesn't even matter if Bottas Gang passes him back again. The penalties being applied will mean that Dan will resume back into P1 and will finish with 25 points to his name, but Bottas Gang will get the fastest lap point.
Yep, he's consolation prize really.
Here we are, Dan. Cross the line, takes the win. A penalty was applied, but it doesn't make any difference. Bottas Gang will take P2. Yonti will come across the line and jump him up to P2 as expected. Lucas, actually, Bottas Gang holds a podium position even still. With all the penalties applied, he still remains P3. So well done to him. Lucas takes P4. Busted will cross the line and take P5 provisionally as Just Ice will stay where he is in P6. Asia pre-stewards will be crossing the line in P7. Right about now, and Wicked Pony, who's actually fighting with Mr. Nathan here. Mr. Nathan with that wing damage, just trying to hold on to whatever he can get. He's going to lose 2 places. Dennis is going to double his points up and go up to P9. Wicked Pony will cross and go P8. Dennis will go P9. And actually, Mr. Nathan recovers it back to take the P9 again. So well done to him.
Yeah, Dennis had a 5-second penalty there that I didn't actually see. So for the moment, Mr. Nathan P9 probably going to move up to P8 once Azir's penalties get applied, or well, actually there's a 10-second gap, maybe not. It depends what the stewards decide, but we'll leave that up to them.
Yeah, indeed. What a Grand Prix that was. That was actually a very exciting Grand Prix from beginning to end. There was battles non-stop, there was safety car, there was virtual safety cars, there was damage, there was send-its, there was overtakes. It had everything you need in a Formula 1 race, and there is the podium to go alongside with it. Very well done to Dan. Overall for Ferrari, this is a brilliant day. Wait, Bottas Gang was P3, wasn't he?
It should have been, yep.
Unless it's because he's left before we got to the podium scene, and that's why we're seeing that. We'll have a look in just a second when we get to see the full rundown right there. No, Bottas Gang did in fact fall to P4. So I don't know when that happened, but he is P4 nonetheless. So Dan takes P1, Yanti taking P2, Lucas in P3, Bottas Gang takes 4th, Busted in 5th, Just Ice in 6th with Asia in 7th. Again, that's pre-stewards. Wicked Pony in P8 with Nathan getting P9, Dennis taking the rest of the points with Lando's Milkman getting best of the rest after the contact he had earlier with Asia. Then Nick Sana, who wasn't actually there, was in P12, Fluffy Balls in P13, and your DNFs were Beaker, Dower, Dane, Lennart, and Mute. Which leaves me with a final question for you, sir, here today. Who is your driver of the day?
To be honest, everyone got penalties really, but I think we really kind of need to give it to Dan. He done a great job. Coming back up through, lost positions at the start, but he kept his head down. Realistically, didn't have as many penalties as those around him, and he done exactly what he needed to do to get the win today. Yep,
I agree with you on that one, Dan. Absolutely secured the win perfectly. Yeah, he got a couple of penalties, like you said, but overall, he drove exactly how he needed to secure this victory. So that's it for the Delta Race Competition Grand Prix here in Singapore. As always, I've been Ben Raggy McConnell, and joining me has been, for his first time, Horn Badger. Thank you as always. You are a lad. I appreciate you being here, and we'll see you guys next week.